Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello everyone. David Gross with Condi Systems. Very much a pleasure to be back with you to share a little bit of my wisdom for sublimation success. And it's my honor to have with me Jared Hoke. He is, I guess you're the ASI Executive Director. Is that your title, Jared?
That is correct.
Okay, got you. And you are on this call from Philadelphia. So thank you for putting this webinar together. So the folks out there, you're in listen only mode, and we would like you to send us your questions. You'll see it on the panel where you can send a question, and we certainly will attempt to answer that question if we can on the appropriate slide. There may be questions that we hold to the end, and then we'll try to answer them there. We can also, if a question is something we need to research or has a lengthy answer, we'll probably take that offline. There will be prizes. So I think we've got a couple of prizes that some of the folks in our marketing department has put in the slide, Jared. So we'll get to those, I'm sure. And we have a couple of I think what we would refer to as free things that you can get for just letting us say we're thankful that you're part of this. So Jared, with that, you want to make sure we're recording here because there's some folks that probably can't be with us, and there may be some folks that want to watch this again. So Jared, with that, please introduce yourself. Tell us exactly why folks like us should take an interest in selling into the healthcare market.
Well, my name's Jared Hoke, Executive Director with ASI, and thank you, David, for allowing me to be part of this conversation with your customers. What we're going to do today with the targeting the healthcare market is the healthcare market is such a large industry. It is one of the largest industries in the promotional product marketplace, which is a multiple billion-dollar industry. So with that said, a lot of the things that you're doing with sublimation and what we want to be involved with and go over is the healthcare industry, the clients in the healthcare industries to target, some of the products they're buying, how to reach the market, and a little bit about, I know most of you are familiar with ASI and a little bit about what we do, but near the end of this presentation, we're going to get to all the services that we offer to help increase your current sales and expand your marketplace. And if you stay till the end of the slide, as David mentioned, we do have a great incentive free from ASI, and we'll do that at the end of the slideshow.
Yeah, let me say this. So much of what we're going to talk about today, folks, is what I call a B2B, business to business selling. And as I looked over these slides, and we've tried to turn it into a good presentation for you, it reminds me of a webinar that's currently posted on Condi TV that Jimmy Lamb and I did on selling into the hospitality industry, specifically the bed and breakfast. And so if you want to go back and watch that, we really had a lot of great strategies for selling to those folks that are very much applicable, like outdoor signage, parking, you name it. A floor mat would be a great idea. You name it. So some great strategies there. And many of you may have taken my classes over the years. And one of the things I love to repeat, don't we all like our stories, Jared? But I love to repeat the story about from the Old West when Jesse James was asked by a young lady who was a reporter at the time. She was interested in getting into Jesse James's psyche. Why did he do what he did? Why that profession? And so she just simply asked him straightforward, Mr. James, why do you rob banks? And he looked at her with total disbelief at her question, and also puzzlement, and he said, because that's where the money's at. All right, let's get us launched here, Jared.
All right, so here we go. So let's go to our next slide here. All right, great. So we have some really good, interesting healthcare industry facts. A lot of this relates to sublimation and a lot of ASI. And as you'll see, sublimation and being an ASI member or using ASI service, there's a lot of crossover. You're going to really notice that. So just to check out some of the stats that we have on here is 72%, which is a really high number, prefer to buy U.S. made promotional products, which also is sublimated products, which I thought that would be really interesting. So also, if you look at 52% of medical firms think promo products are a great ROI offering. I mean, if you ask me, when was the last time you were in a doctor's office or you went to the dentist or you were at a hospital or a visit anywhere and you didn't see all kinds of imprinted, branded, sublimated items at these locations? I mean, they are everywhere. So a lot of this is we wanted to make sure if you're not in the healthcare industry and you're not looking at these guys, and they're all around us. I mean, let's face it. I mean, anywhere you go, you're going to see something in the healthcare industry, and they eat up sublimation products, promotional products, and they love this stuff to give out as a reminder to come back to
Absolutely.
that. So a little bit about what we just went over there. Here's a lot of the top places that you can target. Possibly you have hospitals, doctor's office. Next time you're a doctor, I bet if you just look around once again, look what they have sitting on the administration table. You know, even as you expand out, chiropractors, spas, optometrists, dentists, the whole 9 yards. There's so many different fields out there, and being the number 3 customer for all 20,000 distributors that we have at ASI, and this being number 3 is pretty remarkable. I mean, they are going to buy products, and they buy a large amount of product.
I think that's true. In the very early days of my sublimation career, which we've been doing this for, God knows, 27 years, I remember turning to my wife and I said, you know, she was taking the kids to the pediatrician. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a name badge. And I had called ahead and asked who the head nurse was. And I came up with a children's themed name badge, and she took it with her, and she simply delivered it to the lady whose name was on the badge. And that's all it took. And that was a large pediatricians group, and they began buying tons of name badges because people would, you know, ladies would get married, they would change their title or position, you know, all those initials after their name, they would lose it. And then I had orders coming in from other pediatricians groups, and the word had simply gotten out. So now when I tell people to sublimate, to make a sample, I always tell them, sublimate your reorder information on the back or wherever appropriate on every product you make, because that's your built-in referral system. And just to tell you how I see this vision, if you will, of ASI versus, we'll call it the on-demand market, is very simple. It's the best of both worlds. It's the world where, you know, the client wants it my way, they want it now. And Jared, I believe in the ASI world, when you make a product like that, you call it a strike off, didn't you? Is that what you call it?
I don't know if I have called it a strike off before, but something that wants something now, and
yeah, in other
very
words,
quickly
sort of a sample that might lead to more sales.
Sure,
But look at
sure.
all these markets, and now, Jared, you know, you think about the doctor's office, but I'll tell you, a bunch of people now bypass the doctor's office and they go to the urgent care facilities where those people are so easy to deal with, and they'll refer you on. So think about the urgent care folks as well.
Absolutely. That is really good to mention. 100%. All right. Okay, so on our next slide here, we have promo products and usage. So, just to kind of go over a little bit about promotional products. Yeah, this is a little tie-in with the healthcare industry and what are some of the top items used in the healthcare industry, and also with promo products. So, we have the human skeleton system over here as I know that that was something that was put into the slide
Yeah,
for
let's talk about that just for a second. So,
yeah.
all you got to do is keep your eyes open, and everything from, signage, everything from indoor recognition items that are on the wall, and this, of course, is a clipboard. And clipboards, you'd think clipboard would be obsolete with an iPad or something, but they're not. And the best part of much of what we do, Jared, on the sublimation side, is that our products are dry erasable. So whether you need a signage of that says, somebody's written in there, get your flu shot today, flu season, whatever, or you're just carrying it around, or a door hanger, or just the number of products that are potentially consumed just by the medical facility. In other words, they're intended to be displayed or used. Is completely overwhelming, from the outside parking sign to a floor mat, as I mentioned, a clipboard, just so many things fit into that. Then you get into all the great ASI products that the healthcare provider can, dispense as needed to its clients.
Absolutely. David, one of the big things, even before, I've been with ASI maybe almost 10 years, and, it's one of those things you just don't notice until you start looking around and looking for it. Whenever you go to any business, and now it's something that I look at all the time, of course, but when you go to any business and you just stop and you actually look around and you see how many things are imprinted. And the cool thing is, it's not only the items that are imprinted for the company or the doctor's office or where you're at that you'll see, but they're using other imprinted items from other places that they might have picked up or grabbed on the way in. And before you know it, as you really look around and look to your left and look to your right, you sit down, you look at a catalog, a magazine on a table, and suddenly you just found about 15 to 20 different types of imprinted items sitting around in an office. I mean, it's wild once you really open your eyes and look how many things are imprinted with somebody's company name, logo, ID, a picture, or what it may be. It's just really something once you start really being a little more aware. And once you're aware and you see that, then you really understand where you can go with it.
Yeah, and I would say there are also some ancillary markets to this. For instance, I know a number of our clients that sell into the birthing business. In other words, when a baby is born, they're going to either sell through the hospital gift shop, or be a referral from the hospital gift shop, or they're able to get to them another means, but they're going to sell them maybe a beautiful shout box with the birth announcements. And for those that aren't familiar with this, you can go to the Condi Client Gallery, and you can see the thousands of entries that people have made, showing the products they're making. And I guarantee you, if I was young again and we were having kids, I absolutely would have those birth announcements in my office, at home. I'd make sure that, of course, grandparents had them. And so there are some markets like birth, and of course, on the flip side of it, you have markets that connect to a little bit of the long-term care business, with people ultimately passing away, and getting into the memorial products market, which is I think quite lucrative. There aren't as many people as I would think should be in the memorial products market. So if that's a market, I think we've done a webinar on that before. But those are two great, and I'll tell you one more market that sort of adds right into this, that we call it the healthcare industry, but I guarantee you could just as well say that that's the healthcare industry for people and for pets. And so people will spend tons of money on their pets, and I tell everybody, partner with a pet groomer.
100%. I personally have two dogs, and I can tell you what, with what people will spend on pets, with room and boarding, with pets, just make sure it's top notch. We're talking hundreds of dollars, a night with a lot of these places, with the groomers and all those pet shops and things of that nature. I mean, that is definitely something to take a look at. And there are just so many of those types of places around. I know in my area alone, I have about, within a 5-mile radius, maybe 10 or 15 different types of dog grooming places and boarding places, and also training facilities too for dogs as well. So great opportunity there as well too.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And I know the next slide, and just so you know, in the world of promotional products, the top promotional products is number one is always going to be apparel, and then bags, writing instruments, drinkware, and desk and office accessories. Those are number one.
Oh, so interesting. But in the sublimation world, probably number one is the mug. And I would suspect that you see these nurses and doctors drinking their coffee, especially at the hospital. And so everybody, of course, loves a personalized mug. They like to stand out different. Lead us on, Jared.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I saw another large amount of people joined a little late, maybe about 5 minutes ago or so. So as David and I mentioned, stick around to the end. At the end, we're going to go over some great specials and offer that Conde is doing, and ASI. We're going to also give you one of our free memberships. As long as you stay to the end, because you have to stay there, because there's a little link that you have to copy and fill out to get it. So hang on to the end, and just wanted to give a little update to the people that just joined. All right. So David, I know that you want to go over some nice little samples of what you can do with the healthcare industry, just to give people some ideas and things and call to actions. And
I would say. First rule, and I think you have, let's say you've got a typical ASI distributor out there that sells promotional products, and then you've got a sublimator out there that becomes part of ASI. And so who's going to win at getting business? And I'm gonna vote on the sublimator, because what the sublimator should do is bring in, to sort of open the door to get their attention, bring in a personalized product. Could be a coffee mug, it could be a sign for their desk, but they're going to bring in a personalized product because they've done their homework. They understand who the decision maker is there, and they're going to show them a gift that's going to get their attention and going to allow you to talk a little bit about the kinds of products and services that you can provide. And the advantage over our kind of client is immense, because being on-demand, digital, personalized products, full color, photographic quality, we know all those benefits. You're able to respond extremely quickly to the need for that piece of signage, that parking sign. We got the great new outdoor metal parking signs. I believe they're like 12 by 18, already have the holes. And how cute would it be to have a really attractive, funny kind of sign out there? Um, but you think of just so many areas, and it really is a matter of strategizing on picking a sort of a single product to start with. But once you're in there, you can really start focusing on sort of the broad appeal. And I would say that almost every medical facility has some sort of tie-in with the community. It could be a nonprofit organization for some sort of healthcare related issue. It could be they're sponsoring a team, you name it. So the recognition products you can get into are tremendous. Imagine how good a nice counter mat would look at the receptionist, possibly one of our business card holders with the name on there, like you see Karen Robinson here. And we have the ID badges with slots that can be attached to a lanyard, or name badges with the magnetic or pin findings. But you can extend it, well beyond that. You can just there's so many products that fit in there, from putting in a piece of Chromolux metal for one of the favorite photographs of one of the folks here. It could be a nurse, could be a doctor, the office people, but helping just decorate the facility. And so it really is just a matter of bootstrapping that relationship with that clinic, that office, that eye doctor, that chiropractor, and just letting them know that you don't have to tell them it's sublimation, probably shouldn't, but let them know that you're able to do these things on demand. And once you can do that, I think that's where the ASI tie in, because they may say, hey, I need say 500 of I don't know, frisbees or something. Pick any product you want for our open house that we're going to have, say, in a few weeks. So you really can sort of connect the dots, if you will, with the holistic version of just keeping your eyes open. And I think that's one of the things you want to do with everybody. For instance, I have people that call me all day long and say, does Condi sell vehicle wrap kind of technology? And I'll say, no, we don't, but this is the technology that does vehicle wraps. It turns out to be a solvent-based printer that you print onto vinyl, and I go through it simply because I want to be helpful with solving the problem that they're bringing up, or helping them with the opportunity. So just a tremendous amount of products. Everything from they may sponsor a golf tournament. So you really need to figure out what's your community calendar, what things. Yeah, this is good. What things that are they already involved with? But certainly my number one product by far is the name badge. I think the name badge is such a fantastic product because it's the only product that you have to sell only once, and then you just take reorders. And everybody really deserves to have a professional, attractive, and informative name badge. And these are just a few of the other products. As I say, most medical places would greatly benefit from a dry erase board. You could just start at the counter with a card holder, with a name badge frame, and look at some of these other products. Certainly drinkware in the mug is going to be always a favorite. And again, the ASI tie-in to some extent is when you when you get orders for promotional products, or you get orders for things that maybe the order is larger than what you're able to do in the allocated time, then ASI may be that portal, that gateway to get these. Now, I'll tell you also, you can always run something by us, and we can tell you if someone is maybe in your area that could handle, say, a large order of mugs. We do have a good handful of clients that are in the wholesale mug, world, and they certainly can handle those kinds of things. So, bottom line is, one of my tips and tricks for sublimation success, my 101 tips and tricks, is don't turn away business that you can't handle. And ASI definitely provides a link to a very large variety of what I'll call screen printed, pad printed, and some of the ASI suppliers also do sublimation.
Absolutely. Great. All right. So we're going to venture on our next slide, which is how to reach this market. So, we went over some of these things, but we'll just go back to this. A lot of people, what we'll do is something that even ASI has is direct mail. We do have catalogs, marketing catalogs. I'm sure, David, you have any catalogs that you're able to, people can drop off, or, referrals are always good, sales visits, cold calling, just the typical ways that you can get out there. And I know most people in the sublimation industry, they really take their time to really vet out who they want to see, how they want to see them, and what kind of product that you want to go in and really wow them with at the same time. So this slide is just a little more about, little different kinds of ways that you can get in there. But David, what are some ideas that you might have about entering a new, let's say, a new urgent care facility, or something like that that you might take with you?
So I would say that number one is everybody should become familiar with their community calendar, and because it provides many opportunities for you to ponder selling into. Get involved with your Chamber of Commerce, and find out what they're doing. And for instance, here in Mobile, we have a magazine called Lanyap, and Lanyap, if you're not familiar with that Louisiana word, means a little bit more or something extra. And by the way, that's a Final Jeopardy question that I ask in my class, and usually nobody's ever heard of it. But in that publication we have here, it is our community calendar, and so you can get a good feel. But the first thing to do is just look to, in this case, the health organizations that you're already calling on. So, for instance, my wife is part of a large organization's exercise program, and a lot of these doctors, their outreach is part of that. So, let's not forget, those, whether it be, just exercise, boot camp, you name it. I love yoga. I take yoga twice a week, and it's at a church, and you could definitely sell things to the church. I know the people now. It's a matter of presenting them with a sample and say, here it is. In fact, I saw some clipboards there the other day that came from one of our clients. So it's really just opening your eyes to what you're already involved with, and then picking an advocate, a decision maker, making a product, and beginning that education process of what they need. For instance, the church that I go to yoga, they really have poor name badges. So if I was trying to sell to them, I would certainly make a name badge for the gentleman that I know well, and most likely I would get the business. I mean, I can't imagine. So it's really a matter of making a product and making sure it's personalized, and then delivering it. And no one ever throws away a personalized product. They're going to keep that forever. So it's just mapping out who's around you. Next would be like your number 3, your referrals, and that is certainly asking others. Are they familiar with? Or do they know anyone there at different places that you may not be familiar with? For instance, I have a lot of friends that go to chiropractors. Probably I should go to one, but I haven't, and have a good back. But the point is that that chiropractors, they have a large body of folks in there. So, you think about them, and you find that connection, and then you figure out, okay, what would be appropriate to get their attention. And that's how I would do it. But being an engineer, I don't think necessarily like I should in a salesperson. I think sort of um, I guess maybe methodical, where um, you're going to be successful. And I think delivering a personalized high value item to a client is absolutely going to get you into the door. And that brings up really the last point. This is that you need to make sure every product that you deliver has a way for them to find you. So, for instance, if you're doing mugs, we have the mate stickers for the bottom, and it's a sheet. You cut it out, and then you sublimate it. Once it sets on the bottom of the mug, it's dishwasher safe. So it is crucially important that every product you deliver becomes your referral system. Um, and I'll say this about name badges. Name badges, of course, are my favorite product, and you should sublimate on the back of the name badge what information that you think is important for that clinic, that doctor, that nurse. It could be the mission statement of the facility. It could be emergency contact information for them, along with your referral reorder information.
Absolutely. Excellent. Excellent. So, and once again, we do have direct mail. I know a lot of people think that direct mail is a dying breed. I know the ROI and the return rate on that is pretty low, but with the right campaign, it can be very effective. Whether it's a postcard that you send out, a catalog that you send out, a special gift, something really neat that you did sublimation on, as long as you send it and it's more of a local organization or place or somewhere in the healthcare field, and you know who you're sending it to, and then you do your due diligence and follow up to see if they got that gift or promotion or direct mail that you sent out to them, chances are that you will be able to obtain a meeting or at least get in the door. So, which is always the hardest part and the first part, just get in the door. So
right. And Chris at our place reminded me, going back a couple of slides, on the products that you can buy from us. We, of course, have tons and tons of made in USA products, and we do mark them on there. And I think there is a link somewhere where we just simply list all the made in USA products. So, there are quite a few clients that are sensitive to that, and it will make a difference in their mind if you are presenting them with a made in USA. For instance, our name badges are made in USA by the great folks at Universal Woods, better known as Unisub.
Mm-hmm. And also, a question came in, an answer came in from somebody else, that customers can find a list of USA-made products on the Conde website as well.
Yes, absolutely true.
Excellent. So we'll move over to our next slide. Here's how to benefit from the healthcare industry. Obviously, one way to expand your business is joining ASI. And once in a slide or two, we're going to get to a little more about what ASI can do and how ASI can help you. and where we go from there. So kind of went over this a little bit about asking healthcare customers the need for promo. And it's a little more about ASI and working with our wholesalers, invoicing your customers as you normally would, and getting profit margins. So we don't have to spend a lot of time on this slide because I'll explain a little more about what that means and a little more.
I'll say this, Jared, for sublimators. So imagine ASI, really all ASI is we'll call it another tool in the toolbox. You know, for all of us sublimators out there, you know, we all want a bigger printer. We all want a bigger heat press because we want to do more. And so that's, you know, all the sublimators out there, we all sort of get it. You know, we understand this. And so ASI is that extra tool in the toolbox that can expand your product offering. And so you can tap into a very large network of suppliers that are producing these products for you. And with the, you know, simple concept that you're helping your client with what they need. And through this, you're able to build up I'll call it a triple win, a win with your client who you're selling to, and a win with yourself, and then a win with the ASI supplier. And, you know, ASI, the organization, is that conduit that simply connects you to a ASI wholesale supplier.
Right, and that was a really good description, David. And what I'll do is I'll even make that a little more granular by giving you some examples of things that I am sure that you've been approached by and weren't really sure how to handle or where to go. I know a lot of you do know ASI, but a lot of you don't know ASI. So that's the good thing. So we can really drill down on that a little more and give you some real life situations on where ASI would make a really good fit for you. So this industry, including sublimation, it's $24.7 billion industry. And what I wanted to give you is, as an ASI member, these stats come from one of our counselor magazines, The State of the Industry. So we've taken polls and lots of information, and we came up with the number of clients that buy, or the number of times a client buys is about 3 times a year. And these are from this, now remember this, from only ASI members, only 20,000 companies that are ASI members. The average order size is $575. The average numbers of orders is 300 per customer or per year. And you're looking at about a 40% profit margin. So that's what you do when you're with ASI as an ASI member. Those are the kind of margins that you're going to be looking at. David, what in the sublimation industry, what kind of margins are you looking at, would you say?
You know, that is a great question, and I do not have an answer because the business model is not a markup model.
Sure.
It's sold on the value. So a mug, for instance, may have a complete rolled up cost, certainly less than $2, but typically would sell for $15, around that, possibly more, maybe less, depending on the volume. So you sell based on the value. In the sublimation world, the value equation is calculated by the blank product plus the artwork that you put on the product, and then finally your selling environment. Do you sell like you're at a flea market, or do you sell like you're at an exclusive boutique?
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. So I just want to give you some information about ROI, and you know that does make a lot of sense. And we'll move on. So ASI, we have only 2 slides that really go over a little more about ASI. So I want to kind of take the ball here and kind of go over what ASI is and how we can help you. There's a couple of services. And then after that, I believe we get to some specials and another slide, and we'll wrap it up from there. How does that sound, David?
Good deal. And I've got a few other things, so yes, please.
Okay, great. Okay, so So what ASI does is, just so you know, we are the largest membership organization in the world, giving the people the ability to be a supplier or a distributor of promotional products. Like I said, I've been around 75 years. We have over 20,000 distributors. Most of you would qualify as a distributor. That means you have the ability to buy direct from our 3,200 wholesale suppliers that will imprint those products for you, and they will turn around, give them to you, and you resell at that 40% profit margin. So David mentioned something earlier that I wrote down. He says, do not turn away business that you can't handle. So whether that's an extremely large amount that you just don't have the equipment for, there's somebody out there that can have that, and they will have it, and they will be able to supply that to you. And I'll give you an example a little later, but we do offer all kinds of, the biggest thing that we do is education. We want you to make sure that you understand the industry, get the right education on how to use our networking, our tools. We have over 425 people here at our headquarters that, almost half of them are account managers and account executives that you can call night or day to say, hey, do you have any advice? Can you help me? What can you help me with? I have a customer that's working with this. And, we're always over the top, willing to help anywhere that we can. Also, as a membership organization, we have all kinds of discounts. I'm talking 40% off your UPS shipping. I'm talking all like discounts that you would see, when you join any other major membership organization that come as a member benefit. I believe we have about 15 of them. They range from, Office Max, UPS, and, I can go on and more. But what is really the thing here that I want to talk about and give you an examples about are these two specific items, which I think would be of the most benefit for you. The one item here is called ESP. This is ASI's, this is our flagship program for many, 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 many years. So instead of going over what it is, let me give you an example. So back to the statement, do not turn away business. So David, let's say that you just got into the sublimation industry and someone said, David, I need 2,000 stainless steel travel mugs. My price range is $3 to $4. I need a black handle and I need that turnaround time in 3 days with a 4-color imprint. What would you typically say starting out in the sublimation industry if somebody asked you that?
We would say that doesn't fit sublimation, and that's done with technology. So we would approach it what technology it would be done with, and it would either screen printed, pad printed, and
Sure.
we would say that's not in our wheelhouse, and therefore you need to find somebody that can assist you with that.
Right, exactly. So now if you were an ASI member and you started out in the sublimation industry and somebody asked you for 2,000 stainless steel travel mugs with a 4-color imprint and a black handle and they need it within 2 to 3 days, you would say, absolutely, I can provide that for you. ESP, this system is loaded with over 1 million products from those 3,200 suppliers. Those suppliers, they do embroidery, they do pad printing, screen printing, laser engraving. There is no product that you can't find, no product that you can't have that turnaround time, the quantity, availability, have them do it for you, turn it around. They can either drop ship, give it to you to give to the customer. Either way you have it, and you're still looking at a 40% profit margin. That is ESP. It's one of the most powerful tools out there. We have over 40,000 people using that system today, all the time, night and day. People almost live their companies by using the system because it just makes you have the ability to never say no to business, whether it's something that needs to be sublimated and you're not there yet with the capabilities that you want to be, or whether it's something that has nothing to do with sublimation whatsoever. So that is the one tool. The other tool that we have, if you see where it says create the ultimate online shopping experience. So what we also do at ASI is we make sure that everyone has a website. So if you do not have a website, what we like to do, if you're in the sublimation industry, we can all make the front page about sublimation, about what you do, some of your products that you're using, all that great stuff. And then in there, you can have samples of the items that you've done. But guess what? In the back end is loaded of every product. We loaded it with over 350,000 items that has a sourcing tool down the side where you can really navigate and source. Your customers can source down and actually buy from you directly online. And once again, you're looking at a 40% profit margin just by letting them know what you can do with the sublimation and personalization with them. But now you have the power behind the scenes to make sure that they know that they can get anything that they're looking for from that website.
Yeah,
so those are two main things.
Yeah, that just goes, again, speaking to the sublimators out there. So, for instance, if somebody says, all I'm really looking for is, 144 mugs with, some black and white logo artwork on there, there's no personalization. Yeah, you could do that with sublimation, no doubt about it. But if you did it with an uncoated white ceramic mug that was screen printed, pad printed, it would cost a lot less. And so the adage is very simple. You want to make sure you're spending your time on the things that are going to make you money, and using whatever, whether you have sublimation or let's say you have a white oaky printer, you want to make sure you're doing the products that are appropriate for that technology. If you're unsure, of course, you can simply call us and we can give you what we know. And that way, it's just one more tool in your toolbox. And, again, Condi doesn't have a dog in this fight. We don't, all we want to do is make you successful, equip you to make good decisions. And along with ASI and of course there are many tools out there like learning Corel better or whatever. And when you have all these tools together, guess what? You're probably going to have a very successful business.
Absolutely. I completely agree 100% with that. So we have another slide that we'll go over. Obviously, we'll field, I saw some questions come in regarding ASI membership fees and things like that. We can always get to them later, or we can, if there are too many questions are coming in, we can always individually get to those questions after this. So let's go on to the next slide. I know David wanted to remind you of the pricing tool.
Yeah, the ASI is based on a markup model. So its pricing is sort of, we'll call it already set, what you should sell it for. Of course, Jared, I guess you're free to sell it for what you want, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
There's no, but in the sublimation world, because these are on-demand, personalized, full-color photographic products, it's often very confusing as to what they should be sold for. And so we have a spreadsheet, we have a tool, and we keep it updated with what I would call a pricing range. And again, it's sort of a get you started product, because many new sublimators will get out there and they'll do some kind of crazy markup, and they'll just cause them to maybe leave money on the table. And in some cases, they'll lose the sale because people wonder, why is your pricing so far off from others? And so the pricing tool at least points you in the right direction with understanding the value dynamics. But the bottom line is, in the case of sublimation, remember you're delivering a on-demand personalized product, and people are expecting in most cases to pay for a premium product with a premium price. And if you lowball it, people get very suspicious. Is this a product that we're not going to be happy with? What's substandard about it? Things like that. So you really want to make sure that you understand the dynamics of the products you're selling.
Absolutely.
All right, do we have is there another slide? I think there is, right?
What's going to come up, and hopefully everybody was waiting around. I see a lot of people are still here, which thank you very much, everyone. But I think we have next slide is going to come up is the thank you for joining us from Conde.
Let me just say a couple of things real quick.
Oh, sure.
We're at the end of it. So there's so much to these markets. To me, it's overwhelming. I'll throw one more at you, and that is most medical organizations, all these people are plugged into some foundations. And they may be a sponsor for that foundation. They may attend the events that are related to it. And sometimes it's a little hard to become aware of these, but if you start asking, it's going to become obvious. But here's one tip that a number of people have been helped by doing this is a lot of these foundations at their event, usually it's some sort of annual event, they will have a silent auction, and you should submit a product for the silent auction. It is an unbelievably, essentially free way for you to introduce this product to everybody at the event. Everybody's going to walk by a table full of these that you bid on, and it could be, as simple as a Chromolux metal print. People love the metal, but it could be a piece of slate with imprinted with photograph, you name it. And so in your community, just simply get plugged into these silent auctions. And the corollary to silent auctions is fundraisers. So again, medical folks, they're all plugged into these, fundraisers for these medical disorders, you name it. Everybody knows of some of the large ones, MDS or muscular dystrophy. There's so many of these, American Heart Association, breast cancer, you name it. But what you want to do is get plugged into the fundraisers for these. And by that, what I mean is that you could pitch to the organization that if someone makes a donation, whatever, that you will provide them with, it could be as simple as a Christmas ornament. And so one side of the Christmas ornament is for the organization, for the charity, for the benefit, mentions it, and then the other side would be your family portrait, pet, dog, cat, grandchild, you name it. And what a win-win. And if you think about the fundraisers that are out there today, nobody needs more chocolate, candy, wrapping paper, things like that. And so you're really in an incredibly good position to pitch to these organizations to have a fundraiser with a product that you can say for sure will turn into a lifelong keepsake. And then every year you may do the same thing. You may innovate and try a different product. But there's the fundraising aspect of sublimation is very powerful. Now, while you're doing that, of course, you look for, we'll call it the long run products. The organization may need 200, 500 of something, and that's your other tool in the toolbox. And suddenly guess what? You're the go-to person for that organization, and that really becomes a very powerful model for growing your business.
Excellent.
I think I've spoken enough. And so, what do we have next?
All right, so I know here we go for Conde has their special here on the next slide. If you hang in there, I'll go over our special as well. So David, if you want to go over some of the things that you have on here.
So yesterday we were sitting around, and by the way, I love my urgent care facility that's just literally around the corner. And the guy there, the doctor, his wife also works there at the front desk, and they're just absolutely amazing people. It's like they're filled with an incredible amount of common sense. Um, and so I was visioning walking in there, and I said, these people need a little, desk plate that also has a business card holder in there, because I'm sure that very much this would add value to how they present their business. And so, guess what? I'm going to give you one. And all I ask is that really it goes with your next order of $100 or more. I forget how much this thing costs complete, but it's a nice piece of wood. It's got a metal insert that you sublimate from the great folks at Universal Woods. And then, of course, it has a place for business cards. And so it's just our gift to you for being part of this webinar.
Excellent. All right, and also looks like we have did you already go over as a special thank you on the bottom part?
I did, and I'm going to let you do that.
All right, so as a special thank you, somebody that is one of the viewers is going to be selected to receive a $100 Conde credit.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're talking about. Yeah. So, Jared, I know we've got a lot of people on this broadcast.
Yes.
Very well attended. So, tell you what, I'm going to pick a number. And let's see. I'll pick 47. 47. So if you'll scroll down to where you see approximately number 47 in the list, and just tell me what that name is.
That would be Tracy Sanders.
Well, Tracy, congratulations. Is it Sanders?
Sanders.
Okay, Tracy, you're the winner of our $100 Conde credit. So if you'll just simply let your Conde rep know, and we'll make sure that is applied to your account. So, Jared, do we have time for a few questions?
Well, actually, there's one more slide, so I'm going to go over the special that we're going to offer.
Yes.
Okay, so as our thank you from ASI, what we're going to do is here's the offer that we're going to give you today, and I'm really excited that I was able to get this for everybody. So there's a membership that there's not a lot of people that know about. It's called our decorator membership. You are all decorators. Now, these 40,000 people using ESP, one of the big tools in there is find a decorator. So usually that's $49.99 a month. It's a very large way for you to get business from our existing ASI members. So what they do is they go in there and they find a decorator, because a lot of people want to get things decorated close to them to stop with all the shipping things and everything like that. It lists all of your information, your website, what you do, that you do sublimation. If you do more than sublimation, you can mark off those fields, and they narrow down who they're looking for. They need somebody with sublimation in the zip code within 30 miles. You will pop up and you will get business. It's great. There's multiple ways. We have you in a hardbound book that is sent out, and you're listed in ESP for all those 40,000 users using for people that are looking for sublimation to find you and use you as a resource. So that is free today. Typically, that's $150 application fee to see if you even register. We waive that, and we waive the $49 a month. Now, the only thing about that is, in order to get that, you do have to be an ASI member. So ASI member, just to let you know, is $29.99 a month. We've also waived the $150 fee for that. So at the end of the day, real short, real easy, we'll give you 2 memberships. One was $49.99 a month. We'll give you that for free, so people can find you and give you business as long as you become an ASI basic member at $29.99. Now, just so you know, this little link down here, if you see my mouse scrolling through, visit go.asicentral.com/Conde webinar. So write that down, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do, and all you do is fill that out. Then we'll know 100% that you're interested, and then we will honor that free membership for you today.
And so, Jared, one of our clients could jump in, sign up, and they have very little to lose. I take it there's really no long-term commitment, right?
We are month to month. So the great news is what a lot of people are going to do is they come on board. They get all the education to really learn how to maximize an ASI membership, what people in their fields are doing, success stories, who to target, who to market. Give it a try, give it a whirl, and if it works out for you, which it does because our stick rate is phenomenal, yeah, that would be amazing. And if it doesn't, and if it's just not, and if you want to stick to sublimation and that's the only thing you want to do because that's your core business and that's just the fun and it's the hobbyist, and that's all you want, then, you know, at least you had an idea to check it out. And who knows, that some of those big orders come by, and, you know, for a low fee, you're able to fulfill those. So it's really up to you on a month-to-month basis of how you want to interact with ASI.
So your directory of decorators, I take it that's a very new feature because I was not aware of it.
Yes, it is something that we brought on not very maybe a couple years ago, but it is something that I can't even give you the list of how many people are on there now that have participated and are paying full price for a decorator membership for ASI. But, you know, it was something that people really wanted. A lot of ASI members don't have a sublimation business. You know, they don't have a screen printing business or embroidery business. So they need to find decorators in their area because guess what? A lot of people sell blank apparel. So they need to find, you know, if they're buying some, you know, apparel and they want sublimation on it, they need to find somebody that can do sublimation on, you know, some of the shirts. So
you know, it could be a lot of our clients are embroidery folks, screen printing, all sorts of things. And, you know, I can't speak to the success of the program, but certainly on the surface, it looks quite appealing because let's face it, a lot of folks do want to buy local. It's a time and motion thing. And, so it'd be interesting to get some feedback in a few months from some of our clients that have listed in your directory as to you know, how that's turned out. But I would think it would be an excellent way to build a partnership with other ASI distributors in the community.
Sure, absolutely. It's a great way. It's a great way to get business and expand your business at the same time. The funny thing is, I see people filling this out as my whole phone is now blowing up with all the people that are filling out the submission form to get things going, and also some questions about people that already signed up for ASI that are on this webinar and are asking if they can also be part of the directory, and I don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
Okay. Well, thank you. So have we covered the questions that have been submitted just by talking, or are there a few that we need to cover?
You know, the great thing is we did cover most of the questions that came in had to do with some American-made items and some other questions.
Okay.
And through our talking, we did go through some of them, but some are very in-depth, and I think we should take some
time off. And I think I'd like you to repeat one more time because I don't remember the answer, but your organization, ASI, how long have you folks been around?
75 years.
Wow, and you can't say that about many organizations. And so ASI has been around 75 years, essentially connecting, the three things: the client that needs the product with an ASI distributor, with an ASI supplier, and that's awesome. Congratulations. Well, Jared, I thank
Thank
you
you.
for your organization and the time that we've had together, and we will look forward to continuing this with another webinar.
That sounds great, David. Thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody
Right.
for going through the webinar, and take care.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.